Ver baba. Devam ki.
I'm not making this video for attention or sympathy or anything.
Şşş.
I just want anyone.
Arkadaşlar chatten değil, Twitter'dan atıyoruz videoları. Chatten değil. Chat'e yazmayın. Twitter'dan atın videoları hashtagli şekilde. Gördüm alıyorum.
Help me to do that.
Animasyon atarsanız sevinirim.
My name's Daniel.
Türkçe altyazısı var mı? Yok, çok güzel.
This is a story I wish I didn't have to tell. I've been a night owl my entire life. As a teen, I used to stay up way past midnight every night, watching terrifying videos on YouTube. I know now they were
Bu ne?
nothing compared to the horrors of the real
Number
world.
15.
Nothing compared to the tragedy my family and I went through. The story I'm gonna tell to you now.
Stay out of the house oynayacağız.
My parents being
Otomatik
teachers.
çevirim var. O İngilizce abi. Otomatik çevir varmış. Okey. Bir saniye hemen başa alıyorum ben bunu. Okey. 12 dakikalık animasyon. Ha siktir lan, dur bakayım. Bu bayağı iyi bir şeye benziyor. 12 dakika lan.
Shut up and take my money.
I'm not making this video for attention or sympathy or anything.
Son param karttan para
Just want
çekilmesini diye
anyone
atıyorum.
who can
İyi
help me
geceler
to do
hepinize
that.
arkadaşlar. Teşekkür ederim. Night Nothing.
My name's Daniel, and this is a story I wish I didn't have to tell. I've been a night owl my entire life. As a teen, I used to stay up way past midnight every night, watching terrifying videos on YouTube. I know now they were nothing compared to the horrors of the real world.
Ben YouTube chatini açıyorum
Nothing
tekrardan şuraya.
compared to the tragedy my family and I went through. The story I'm gonna tell to you now.
Shut up and take my
My
money.
parents, being teachers, had always emphasized the importance
Eyvallah
of
bro,
sleeping
teşekkür ederim.
well to me
Bağışın için.
and would definitely disapprove of my late night routine. So I knew that if they'd caught me up at that time, I'd be in big trouble.
Kapatayım abi.
At
Dur,
first,
Twitch
this
chatini
wasn't a
kapatıyorum.
problem, but after I told them about a
Tamam, doğru.
child predator in our neighborhood that I'd seen.
Arkadaşlar YouTube'a geçin. YouTube'a geçin. YouTube'a geçin. Herkes YouTube'a. Herkes YouTube'a. Herkes YouTube'a. Twitch chatini kapattım. Sebebini biliyorsunuz zaten. YouTube'a geçin dememin sebebini biliyorsunuz zaten. Twitch'i siklemiyoruz dediğim gibi. Twitch'i siklemiyoruz. Devam.
In one of my videos, they seem to grow more and more paranoid. which
Al
was
link atıyorum, hemen hızlı
obviously
geçin. Tıklayıp geçin.
Every
Uğraşmayın
night
iki
I'd
saat.
hear one of them wandering into my room, checking on me, and every night I'd immediately turn
Shut
off
up
my
and take
light
my
and pretend
money.
to be asleep. I never knew for sure if it was my mom or dad coming in,
Teşekkür ederim
since
Erdemciğim.
obviously if I opened my eyes to see, they'd know I was awake. Mostly, I presumed it was my dad, from the heavy-sounding footsteps, but either way, I found it pretty hypocritical for them to preach to me about being up late when they were awake themselves. Sometimes I wondered if they knew I wasn't sleeping, because often it was only after what seemed like hours before they'd finally leave and go to check on Alfie. That's my little brother, and Lucy, my little sister.
Okey.
I'd have asked them about it, but I thought it would have confirmed any suspicions which they seemed to already have about my staying awake deep into the mornings of the next day. Like I said, I guess they were just paranoid about the child predator. It was stupid for me to presume any of these things, and I'll never forgive myself for it, but I did it all the same. Anyway, one day, Lucy's school, where my parents both work, announced a school trip. It meant they'd be gone at some point next month from Saturday morning to Sunday morning, and it meant that I'd finally get to watch the horror movie my friend had lent me.
Arkadaşlar korku filmi izlemek mi? Aga nasip olur mu be?
Watch. There was one downside though. I'd be left to look after Alfie. He, being only 6 years old,
Oy,
my mom
kıyamam
was
sana.
reluctant to leave him in my care alone. But my dad defended me, reminding her that Alfie had been up most of the night after a nightmare, so he'd probably sleep most of the day anyway. Besides, he reassured her, he's 17. He can be given a little responsibility. With a heavy heart, my mom agreed. I honestly wish she hadn't. Finally, the morning came for them to head off. It took longer than expected because my sister said some of her favorite toy dolls had been stolen, but eventually my mom persuaded her that they were probably just lost and told me to look for them whilst they were gone. I begrudgingly agreed, and soon they were ready to go. As they were leaving, my mom gave me a stern word, reminding me to lock the doors Not
Annesi
go to
iyiymiş
bed
yalnız
too
biliyor musun?
late
İlik
and
ilik
take good
ilik.
care of Alfie.
Annesi ilik.
She told me she'd be watching through the security cameras
Aşkım izliyorsan bu arada
to make sure I was looking after him properly. I told her she really didn't have to worry. Then we said our goodbyes, and they were off. Alfie and I spent most of the day playing outside, but came in after the frisbee landed near a strange man who Alfie said had been in his nightmare. I told him that was ridiculous, because even if he somehow was in his dream, he wouldn't be able to remember. Anyway, I went by myself to get it, and I have to
Aga, o
admit
ne?
that the man was fairly creepy. He had a huge grin, and his eyes staring.
Abi o adamda bir
right
sıkıntı
at
var bu arada. O
me
adamda bir
seemed to
sıkıntı var.
be
Gitme.
permanently forced further open than they were designed to go. His clothes all seemed to have been made from someone 50 years younger, as they struggled to cling to his fully grown body. It was cold, but he was wearing a sun hat, a tiny one for children, which barely fit on his head.
Aa, çocuk avcısı bu.
I recognized it, but didn't know how at the time. If I'd learned anything from the videos I spent my nights watching, I'd have abandoned the frisbee and left. But clearly I didn't, because not wanting to feel like a baby, I approached him. As I got closer to the man, his smile disappeared, and he removed the hat and held it behind his back. I began to see his features in greater detail. He looked tired. He was pale and his eyes were bloodshot and had huge gaping bags under them. In the entire time it took me to get to him, the man didn't move an inch, other than the odd blink. Not even his eyes shifted. At this stage, I was getting uneasy. I just wanted to get it and leave. Hi, can I have my frisbee back, please? Thanks. The thought of that conversation, if you can even call it a conversation, still makes me shiver. I locked the front door as soon as we got home. We were both a bit shaken, and Alfie looked tired, so I gave him some more food and put him to bed. It took him about 2 hours to fall asleep. He kept complaining that he'd have another nightmare about that man. I told him he wouldn't, but he wasn't convinced.
I see him every night.
He whispered to me. Well, if you see him again, don't worry. I'll be here to fight him off. This seemed to settle him down.
Ya
Soon he was
salak
fast
salak
asleep.
çocuk. Mal aptal çocuk.
At about 11, it
Böyle
was
anime mi
time to
izliyor?
put my film on. I couldn't have my mom knowing that I was watching it, so I did something naive and ignorant, and something I'll always regret. I turned
Niye
off the
abi?
security cameras. I
Niye?
watched it for 2 hours straight, my eyes never straying from the screen. Until
Aga niye kapattın?
played the last few seconds of the film. But the sound didn't happen again. It was coming from inside my house. Alfie? He didn't reply, but I could see him under the covers, so I thought he was just asleep, and I didn't want to wake him up. I swear, if I thought anything worse had happened, I'd have checked. You okay? I thought maybe I was just worrying too much, hearing things. It was late, and the film had been scary. Maybe it was just all in my
Aga benim anlamadığım şeyi güvenlik kameraları neden kapattı bu eleman?
I knew from the sound of his voice it was him. Alfie! Alfie? Usually this much noise would have woken him up. Alfie, what's going on? I knew something was wrong.
Dışarıdan geliyor
It was
sesi.
him. The doll. I couldn't believe it.
Abi
It
yok
had
artık.
to be some kind of sick prank. It had to be. But it wasn't. It was the man I'd spoken to earlier. He'd taken my brother. Alfie! I was
Koş,
certain
koş,
he'd
koş,
be
koş,
gone
koş.
before
Vur
I could
adama.
reach them. But he didn't set off straight away. He watched as I tried helplessly to do something. I screamed and I shouted and I banged on the windows and I tried to open the doors. but nothing worked. It was all in vain. There was nothing I could do for my brother, my best friend, as he was stolen away from me. It was too late for the police to do anything. It was too late for anybody to do anything.
Plakasını niye almadı? Plakası yok muydu lan arabanın?
And in time,
Fark etmedim onu.
I'd have to come to accept that.
Annesi korku filmi izlediğini görmesine kapattı kameraları, anladım.
First message.
Hello? If you're out with Alfie, call me back when you get back in, please. Love you guys. Bye.
End of message. Second message.
Daniel, we've been trying to get a hold of you for hours. Is everything all right? Did you turn the security cameras off?
They'll be fine. The security system probably just glitched out.
Eyvah.
Hey, Alfie, just call us as soon as you can, okay? You know how Mom worries.
End of message. Third message.
Listen, Daniel, we're starting to get really worried now. If you don't pick up, one of us is gonna have to come home to check if everything's okay. Please pick up.
End of message. Fourth
Geçmiş olsun. Ne oldu? Ne diyeceksin şimdi ailene? Çocuk kaçırıldı.
Daniel! What's happened? Please answer.
I couldn't bear to tell them anything.
Söyleyemezsin ki aga.
That was 7 years ago. We never found him. When I asked my parents if they'd seen anything at all of this man whilst they checked on us during the night, they only looked at me, concerned and confused. What do you mean? They asked. I could only stare at them in horror. Every night, around 2, you'd come and check on Alfie, Lucy, and me to see if we were sleeping.
Daniel?
They told me.
No,
we
we
didn't.
didn't.
The police wanted security camera footage of the man, but of course, there wasn't any. It automatically deletes any footage older than 24 hours.
MixRZAA teşekkür ederim eyvallah.
The only
Prime
night
Lotion
we could have seen
Mixa.
him. You know, the strange thing is, I don't even know if I want Alfie to be alive. Because if he is, God knows what that monster has done to him. Sorry if I've gone on too long, but the guilt's been killing me.
Bedenin sesinde korkarsınız öyle.
I had to get it out somehow. I only tell it as a story because, well, people like stories, and I want as many people to hear this as possible. Alfie, if somehow you're watching, I love you.
Abi Alfie mi
I'm
izliyor
so,
gerçekten?
so sorry.
Yoksa eleman mı izliyor?
Please, don't lose hope. And to the man who took you, it's not too late. If you have any heart at all, and even if you don't, please, please let my little brother come home. To everybody else,
Shut up and take my money.
if someone comes into your bedroom at night, open your eyes. You never know who it might be.
Aga be.
I still stay up late at night. But it's not because I don't want to sleep. It's because I can't. In case anyone sees Alfie, this is the last good photo we took of him. That's it. Stay safe.
Aga 7 sene geçmiş yani. O fotoğrafın çok işe yarayacağını sanmıyorum ama. Mirza mı? Ha okey tamam.
Thank you for sticking around to the
Shut
end
up
of
and
the
take my
video.
money.
If you would
Güzeldi abi bu arada. Erdem bir yollamış demiş ki bu çocuk mala ben olacağım adama şimdiye Naruto tekmesini ağzına vurmuştum. Allah aga öyle olmuyor sürekli ya. Her şey öyle olmuyor maalesef ki. Güzeldi abi. Güzeldi. İlginç bir hikayeydi. Vay be kardeşi 7 senedir kayıp ya. Vay anasını satayım. Geldik yeni şeye. New and Improved adında bir animasyona geldik. Tarık Eren videoda olmuş abi sorduğum Tarık Eren yardımcı olursan sevinirim. Bu arada noktasız iyi yayınlar. Artık tüm parayı attım abi. Görüşürüz. Teşekkür ederim Tarık Eren'cim. Yardımcı olacağım. New and Improved adında bir korku animasyonu izliyoruz arkadaşlar.
Hello, fellow Fazbear employee. During the last 2 years of lawsuits and investigations into Fazbear Entertainment, we are finally allowed to reopen our location to the public. But there are going to be massive changes to our industry, mostly targeted towards our animatronics. We will be downgrading the 82 model into a smaller, compact version of the model being lightweight, easy to clean, and easy to program.
Okay.
The suits themselves have been redesigned to be more friendly towards kids and to clear it up. Rumors have been going around for a decade of paranormal activity through multiple employees, and it is best to address this. There has been no ghosts. There has been no murders. No one has gone missing. No one. No ghosts. No ghosts. No ghosts.
Telifli mi bu? Değil mi?
We will be reopening in the original 1973 site, rebuilding from the ground up. Some props from the older locations will be brought in too. This is all the current information we will be giving out to you. And remember, Charlie, never let this information out, or there will be consequences.
Yok aşkım aldatılmıyorsun. Da bu ne abi? Cursed video lan bu bildiğin. Arkadaşlar izledik zaten. Telif yediysek yemişizdir çoktan. Buralara sarayım. Don't make the same mistake falan diyor. Aga? Bu muydu?
See you soon.
Aga atacağınız videoyu sikeyim, bu ne? Bu ne aga? Atacağınız videoyu sikeyim gerçekten. Peki abi, Let's Read adındaki bir kanaldan animasyon izleyeceğiz. Bu güzel bir şeye benziyor. Bunu da izleyelim abi. Ondan sonra ne yapalım? Yayınımızın artık yavaştan sonuna gidelim. Hazır mıyız? 10 adet 2 cümleyle kurulabilecek korku hikayeleri. 2 cümlelik korku hikayeleri arkadaşlar. 10 tane. Hemen seri seri yardırıyor. Hadi bakalım. Öncelikle altyazısı yok. Okey.
Number 1. I was having a pleasant dream when what sounded like hammering woke me. After that, I could barely hear the muffled sound of dirt covering the coffin over my own scream.
Okey dediğine göre uyuyordum ve birden işte bir vurmaya kalktım falan filan dedi. Bir baktım üzerimden topraklar dökülüyordu.
Number 2. I woke up to hear knocking on glass. At first, I thought it was the window.
Ses camdan geliyor sanıyordum.
Until I heard it come from the mirror
Fakat
again.
aynadan geliyormuş.
Number 3.
Ay.
There was a picture in my phone of me sleeping.
Telefonumda benim şu fotoğrafımın çekildiği bir uyurken fotoğrafımın çekildiği bir fotoğraf vardı işte.
I live alone.
Yalnız yaşıyorum.
Number 4.
Okay.
My wife woke me up last night to tell me there was an intruder in our house. She was murdered by an intruder 2 years ago.
Oo, karım beni kaldırdı ve işte eve gelen birisinin onu eve birisinin geldiğini söyledi. Fakat 2 yıl önce onu birisi öldürdü. Eve gelen birisi öldürmüştü dedi. Ah siktir. Technoloking teşekkür ederim.
Bye. I never go to sleep,
Uyuyamıyorum.
but I keep waking up.
Fakat her zaman uyanığım.
Number 6.
Okey.
The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my scream. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream. But as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open.
Ah siktir. Uykumda 12.07'de benim işte bağırsaklarımın böyle parçalandığını gördüm bir hayalet tarafından dedi. Sonra uyandım fakat işte saat 12.06 idi ve kapıdan bir ses duydum dedi.
7. There's nothing like the laughter of a baby. Unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone. Number 8. I begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed."
Timmy'yi yatırdım dedi işte. Baba yatağın altında canavar var dedi Timmy.
I look underneath for his
Alta
amusement
baktım.
and see him, another him,
başka
under the
bir
bed,
hem vardı
staring
diyor.
back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed."
Baba yatağında birisi var diyor. Ah siktir.
Number 9. I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed fixated on my face
Kedim bana dik dik bakıyor falan diyor.
until one day
Bir gün
when I realized that she was always looking just behind me.
arkama bakıyormuş. Evet, kedi ona bakmıyormuş, arkasına bakıyormuş. Son hikaye.
Number 10.
Sarah!
A girl heard her mom yell her name from downstairs,
Bodrum'dan kendisine seslendiğini duydu annesinin diyor.
so she got up and started to head down.
Sonra aşağı gitti.
As she got to the stairs, her mom pulled her into her room and said,
Merdivenlere gitti ve annesi geldi. Ben de duydum diyor. Ağzına şimdi ne?
Stay in here and don't make a sound.
Burada dur ve ses çıkarma. Oğlum çok rahatsız edici. Çok aşırı rahatsız edici. Ağzına sıçayım. Çıkma, çıkma. Ay. Arkadaşlar. Bayağı korkunçtu.